kind of universals, like it's not I am I, you are you, if we are different cultures, but we share some common concerns. It's, I think, in the form of a struggle. What interests me is that, not that I am my culture and you are yours. What interests me is that my culture has some fights in it. Your culture has some fights. What I want to share you is not universal tolerance. I want to share with you our shared intolerances. Like, what if the only universality that I admit is the universality of struggle, in a way. That's, I think, the presupposition of this cultural solipsism. Oh my God, how do I know that I'm not imposing onto you my universals? We cannot ever be sure. Every universality is fragile and so on. I would say, yes, but the opposite also. My particular identity also is fragile. That is to say, I am not fully myself and then can I share it with you. It is, I am not myself. There is in the very core of me already a universality which surpasses me. That's what gives us some hope. That we are not only more particular than we think, in the sense of even when we spoke about universal things, we give them our personal color. It's the opposite. Even when you think you are immersed only in your culture, you are already universal. Solipsism is false. I'm sad that I don't have time for the last line of thought, which was what kind of ethics fits it. That's what I will have, because it's maybe for some of you, not for me. I'm like Stalinist communist made of special stuff. I can go on forever and so on. But what I wanted to, I'm really sad. I have just 2 minutes to tell you what I wanted to develop for the end is to explain against this background of universality, and the universal ethics is Kantian ethics. Why, in what radical sense Kantian ethics fits it? That's to say, did you notice something strange? How, okay, Lacan has this formula, have you acted in conformity with your desire? That is to say, do not compromise, betray your desire. But how ambiguous this formula is, and even more generally, did you notice how psychoanalysis can be used to justify practically all options that we have today? You have still some stupid anarchist psychoanalyst. Oh, end oppression, liberate it, and everything will be okay. I think they deserve to be shot for another. Why? Because the latest version of it is, and it's not a joke. First I thought it's some trick. No? Like the same trick as, and I was surprised to hear it that it's true. It's really a nasty thing. Maybe some of you know it. When I visited Israel recently, a friend of mine told me something which I thought it's a bad joke. Then he told me, I will convince you, and I met an officer who showed me texts confirming it. Namely, do you know that IDF, Israel Defense Forces, have a kind of a think tank academy where they develop strategies how to fight Intifada Palestinians? You know where is one of their main, but really main, theoretical references? Deleuze, Guattari, Thousand Plateau, and Anti-Oedipus. They strictly use these terms, triad space, nomadic subjectivity, space, and so on. It's strange things are going on here. So the same with psychoanalysis. It's unbelievable. You have psychoanalysts who believe in this sexual revelation. You have liberal hedonist psychoanalysts. All that psychoanalysts teach you is, a little bit of, and so on and so on. Then we have conservative psychoanalysts, which claim the lesson of psychoanalysis today is that we lack symbolic authority, which is why we have the narcissistic illnesses. We should assert some kind of symbolic authority, and so on and so on. We have whatever you want. We have liberal, we have maybe the most cunning, but which I disagree is, and this is how, unfortunately, Lacan is usually read, what I'm tempted to call immoral ethics, kind of a Nietzschean ethics. It doesn't matter what you do, be authentic, do it really, be fully engaged. I claim this one also doesn't. And then, okay, what I wanted to develop is this idea of Kantian ethics as a fully autonomous ethics, as an ethics where, as I repeated all the time, you are not only responsible to do your duty, you are even responsible to determine what is your duty. This is the true ethics of incomplete universe, the true ethics of you are not, of there is no big other, that you cannot even put onto the big other the responsibility for developing, for telling you this is your duty. But you have to be fully responsible for it, which is why, as I already developed years ago in New York, I think somewhere to conclude with this, which is why I think that at one point Hannah Arendt was wrong. She takes all too seriously that Adolf Eichmann's sheet where he claimed, but I was just a good Kantian, I did my duty. No, a good Kantian cannot ever say this, because the whole strategy of Eichmann was to, as it were, objectivize his duty. What can I do? I obeyed Führer, that was my duty. No, you cannot do this. You should be fully, you are not allowed to, as I put it in my one old books already, you cannot use even duty as an excuse to do your duty. I cannot tell you, sorry, I also don't like what I have to do, but it's my duty. No, you have to fully stand behind your duty. No guarantee in the big other. And for reasons that I cannot develop now, I claim that out of this notion of autonomy, I'm here a very traditional German idealist modernist, I claim that a wonderful theory of modern art, especially visual art, can be developed as that, in the sense that that notion of stains that I mentioned before is precisely, how should I put it, art at the level of full subjective autonomy. That you even, how should I put it, you cannot rely even on the medium. You have to accept full responsibility. Okay, I'm sorry if I was too long, but that's life. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go a little bit, maybe, now, as I usually say, we have some 10 minutes to pretend that there is democracy, no? I mean, although, as I already told you, maybe I think my dream is, you know, you saw Goldfinger, James Bond. You remember that car, no, where you, like, wouldn't it be nice to have here a plan like this? You ask me a bad question, I push the button, you go up, and then, okay, but what can we say? Okay, please. Just please be aggressive. I mean, because I'm a little bit myopic and I miss hands and then I'm accused of sexism, racism, which is all true that I'm dead. But, okay, sorry.
All right, 2 questions.
Oh, my God, okay.
I want to talk about Lenin for a second. Stanley Fish...
$5 a glass, yeah?
Stanley Fish says that comes up with something he calls Fish's Law, which goes something like tolerance occurs in inverse proportion to something being at stake. So if something is not at stake, it's easy to tolerate it. But when something is at stake, tolerance disappears.
Yeah.
So the argument for tolerance that you're making, which I take to be the argument about tolerance that you're making, I take to be Lenin's argument, essentially the same, you know, is one that's also embraced by some people on the right, the people who are not afraid of anti-foundationalism, somebody like Stanley Fish. So I'm just kind of wondering what you have to say about that.
First, I wouldn't simply... Fish is one of these interesting liberal conservatives who sometimes goes much further and says things which many leftist liberals are not ready to admit. For example, you know how he very intelligently, and this an ordinary right-winger would not have done it, don't forget that he very decidedly defended affirmative action, for example. Now, you know, so he is a more complex figure. He is a figure, basically, again, that I like. No wonder that if there is a Marxist here, it's my friend Fred Jameson, who incidentally now is getting